Well, it's true. These guys are just weird. And it's, you know, they're running for He-Man Women Haters Club.
It's not just a weird style that he brings. It's that this leads to weird policies.
And by the way, don't you find some of their stuff to just be plain weird?
In the wake of the relentless attacks and labeling, Donald Trump is now responding.
Well, they're the weird ones, and if you've ever seen her with the laugh and everything else, that's a weird deal going on there. They're the weird ones. Nobody's ever called me weird. I'm a lot of things, but weird I'm not.
Oh, really?
If there's a shark about 10 yards away, do I get electrocuted or do I go with the shark? I said, because I will take electrocution all day long. Despite the environmentalists that say how wonderful sharks are. You ever hear these people?
We do not like what has happened where we can't even go to Thanksgiving dinner with our uncle because you end up in some weird fight that is unnecessary.
If there's a shark about 10 yards away, do I get electrocuted or do I go with the shark?
Well, it's true. These guys are just weird.
Republican Senator Marco Rubio of Florida has also tried to respond. Rubio says Democrats are weirder. They called us weird, so I'll call them weirder. That's what I used to do back in high school. But that doesn't really work when the leader of the Democratic Party is an accomplished attorney.
Before I was elected United States Senator, I was elected Attorney General of the state of California, and I was a courtroom prosecutor before then.
And the leader of the Republican Party will not stop bringing up a fictional movie character.
The late, great Hannibal Lecter. Okay, they say, why would he mention Hannibal Lecter? He must be cognitively in trouble. No, these are real stories. Hannibal Lecter from Silence of the Lamb. He's a lovely man. He wants to have you for dinner. He'd like to have you for dinner.
In order for a nickname to stick, it generally has to have some basis in reality or connect with public perceptions. And given the contours of the presidential campaign, the contrasting styles, and the peculiarities of Donald Trump and MAGA world, weird does seem to fit. It is kind of ironic to apply the word now after we've spent 8 years taking Donald Trump seriously and treating him like a legitimate politician. Simply calling him and his movement weird feels like a huge understatement. Still, weird is spot on and appropriate. Donald Trump says weird stuff. His most ardent defenders are a bunch of weirdos, and their MAGA QAnon conservative beliefs are definitely not normal or mainstream. So the name calling seems to be working, and Democratic leaders love how it establishes a contrast.
I want to move America forward in an enlightened way, build an economy that works for everyday Americans, and contrasting that with Donald Trump, J.D. Vance, and the extreme MAGA Republicans, whose ideas are dangerous, their ideas are extreme, and their ideas are weird. And it captures the moment, the narrative as it relates to who they are, I think, in a very accessible fashion.
But weird not only captures who the Republicans are, it also captures who Donald Trump has long been. Years before Trump went into politics, he said some really off-the-wall stuff about his own daughter, Ivanka.
Yet at times, his fatherly praise is downright cringeworthy, like on The View in 2006.
I said that if Ivanka weren't my daughter, perhaps I'd be dating her. You know?
Stop it! Oh, it's so weird! Stop You know what? You are sick!
Far from protecting his daughter from being talked about as a sex object, he has encouraged it multiple times. On Howard Stern's radio show in 2004 and then again in 2006.
By the way, your daughter,
She's beautiful.
can I say this? A piece of ass. Yeah. She looks more voluptuous than ever.
She's actually always been very voluptuous. She's tall. She's almost 6 feet tall.
So Trump has a history of saying weird things. But the application of the adjective now is clearly getting under the skin of MAGA world faithful. Republican presidential hopeful turned Trump cheerleader Vivek Ramaswamy recently wrote on X, "This whole they're weird argument from the Democrats is dumb and juvenile. This is a presidential election, not a high school prom queen contest. It's also a tad ironic coming from the party that preaches diversity and inclusion. Win on policy if you can, but cut the crap, please." Vivek, you mean crap like when Donald Trump mocked a disabled reporter?
Written by a nice reporter. Now the poor guy, you got to see this guy. Oh, I don't know what I said. I don't remember. He's going like, I don't remember. Maybe that's what I said. This is 14 years ago. He's still...
Now, as weird and grotesque as Donald Trump can be, there is an important political strategy pivot for Democrats in all of this. When President Biden was the presumptive nominee, he kept trying to argue that Donald Trump was a threat to democracy. Many Americans, while they do not like Donald Trump, would not go so far as to believe that Trump is an existential threat to the nation. And the Biden claims didn't make a huge impression with moderate and independent voters who will determine the election. But the adjective weird from the Harris campaign is easier for swing voters to confirm. All they have to do is watch a Trump speech or rally, and they will see that Trump can be strange, creepy, and yes, weird. And weird works because of its vagueness and ambiguity. Weird has an array of implications, possibly hundreds. It can encompass Trump's endless offenses against democracy, human rights, and good taste. Weird is big enough to cover everything from Trump's branded sneakers to MAGA world proposals for genital inspections of student athletes. Obsessing over other people's bodies and sexuality is weird. Wanting to go backwards instead of forward is weird. Rambling on and making things up, as Donald Trump does in his speeches, is weird. The anti-Trump Lincoln Project has picked up on the theme in their latest television ad.
Old, weak.
Many don't feel he is fit.
Sick, tired.
Too old to serve.
Stammering, slurring.
He was ranting and raving.
Slipping, forgetting.
And the guy just kept getting confused.
Slow.
Panic has certainly set in.
You know which politician we're talking about, right? Oh, you thought it was about Joe Biden?
Venezuela, it's unbelievable.
Is he all right?
Let's think about some more words. Liar.
I have absolutely no idea who this woman is.
Criminal. Rapist.
I'm here because Donald Trump raped me.
Scammer.
I can say very clearly President Trump is a liar.
Con man. Gross. Vain.
I don't care about you, I just want your vote.
Cruel.
You are a rude, terrible person.
Disgusting. Creep. You know exactly who we're talking about.
You won't have to vote anymore.
Don't you?
To be clear, the name-calling and ridicule will only take Democrats and anti-Trump Republicans so far in this election. There must still be an effort to appeal to voters' serious policy concerns. But it is poetic justice that Donald Trump, the king of juvenile nicknames and insults, is now getting slapped himself. And the only regret many Americans have is that the strategy of mocking Donald Trump took so many years to deploy. That itself is weird. By the way, Donald Trump's recent claim that Kamala Harris is not really black has prompted some strong reactions, even on Fox News.
My reaction is that it was a complete, absolute dumpster fire for the former president. I don't feel the need to give him any credit for showing up there because he came with a terrible attitude. He hit all of his regular hits, lying about his record for Black Americans. The comparison saying he's done the most for the Black community since Abraham Lincoln is obviously ridiculous. Unemployment is lower for Black Americans under Joe Biden than Donald Trump. Everybody knows that. Even Donald Trump knows that. People have told him. He just won't stop.
Check out that video at the link below. It generated a lot of comments on YouTube. One of the most popular is from Cheryl Barr, who wrote, "Donald Trump is a national embarrassment to this country and to the world." I hear you. I look forward to reading your comments about Donald Trump and his MAGA faithful flailing over being labeled weird. I'm David Shuster. Thanks for joining us.